It's Saturday, July 25th, and here's a little garden update. The cucumbers have really taken off. They're currently threatening to invade our neighbor's backyard. They've reassured me they like cucumbers, so that is good. And we finally started to set some cucumbers. I have the really big plant is surprisingly an English cucumber, and then I have a slicing cucumber on the other side, which is quite a bit smaller. I don't know why the plant isn't as vigorous, but the difference. And hidden down below, we still have some carrots in there, which we've been harvesting. They've been lovely. They're little Tom Thumb carrots, so they're just short. Perfect for an urban garden. The mint has been being used in mojitos a lot. This is just a regular peppermint. I give it a haircut every couple days. The youngest child enjoys virgin mojitos, while Ross and I enjoy the regular mojitos. My green onions is the first time I've done green onions in quite a while, and they definitely don't look the same as what you get in the store, but I'm still pretty happy with them. I was sad that the red green onions that I planted out front didn't take off. It's just due to a lack of sun, so I've made a note next year, no planters out front. It's just not sunny enough. Our kale is doing well. I harvest this about every 2 weeks, just enough for like a salad or kale chips. I'm the only one who really likes kale in the family, so it's perfect just for me. I was sad though that I had done some black magic kale seedlings below in the pot. They were doing really well until cabbage worms came in and harvested them. But the upside was that they left the mature kale alone and just ate the seedlings. So I guess there was a purpose. I'll try. There's still some stems there and a little bit of leaves, so they might bounce back for the fall, but I might just pull that all out and resow them. And then I have the basil in this pot has really taken off. I actually want to harvest, give some of this a trim and run it through the blender so I can do some basil ice cubes for future pasta sauces. And this coriander cilantro is pretty much done, but all the pollinators seem to really like the flowers, so I've just kind of left it good to seed. I might pull it out though and replant some because we do use a lot of cilantro in our cooking. I'll take you through. So these are a new tomato I planted this year. These are a patio tomato, and I've made a note that next year they do not go in a fabric bag. There's just not enough support from them because they are heavy, heavy, heavy with fruit. I mean, just look at the amount of fruit that is set on these. These need, see that in there? These definitely need their own pot, and really just one plant per pot because they are so dense and heavy. I've had to top this pot up with soil a couple of times, and I'm not sure. I guess it's okay now. It seems to be a bit more stabilized, but I had plants trying to leap out of the pot for a bit. And we have over here. Now, last fall, I experimented with drying some rosemary in the oven on a really low temperature, and it made beautifully dried rosemary. So I'm going to do the same this year, and then I'm going to try actually vacuum packing some of that dried rosemary and putting it in the freezer and see how that preserves the taste versus just having it in a airtight jar. But we used it all winter, and it was really, really nice. This rosemary is of no particular variety. The scent on it is intense. I love it so much. It came from the little Italian market in the neighborhood called Marcellus, and I'm noting that for my own reference for next year to make sure I buy my rosemary there because it is the best smelling rosemary. I just love it. I come out here and I just like to run my hands through it. It smells so good. So what else do we have going on here? We have our melon, which is actually seems to enjoy being nestled in amongst the cucumbers. I think it likes the shade that it offers. This is a smaller melon plant than the ones I have in the corner, but it's doing pretty well. You can tell the difference because the cucumber plants have these pointed leaves, where the melon leaves are rounded. So we will see how many melons we get off of this one versus the melons we have in the corner here. So this is actually 3 melon plants, which I will not do again. Most I'll ever put in one of those big fabric pots is 2. This 3 is too much. This is doing really well though, and we have, I think I counted like 4 melons that seem to have been set. Only one of them I'm really certain has been fertilized. The other ones I'm keeping an eye on. But it seems to be pretty happy. Slowly it's also escaping the backyard. I'm hoping whatever melons develop on the other side keep the raccoons and squirrels busy, and they'll leave alone whatever actually happens back here. Ha ha ha. Wishful thinking. All right, here we have jalapeno. It is buried in amongst cilantro, and yeah, I think it's all cilantro. Oh yeah, there's some carrots in here too. I read this year that peppers really enjoy being in with cilantro, parsley, carrots, lettuce. So this was kind of an experiment of keeping, because they like to have their roots shaded. They like sun on the top of their leaves, but they like their bottom to be really shaded. So this seems to work really well, and I'm pretty happy. I mean, I have, I think, 8 jalapenos. There we go. You can see that in there. I'll take a picture and insert it. So I don't know if that was the secret sauce, or it's just the summer is being really good for it's really good for peppers. And then the tomatoes haven't been doing as well. We had a really hot period, and all the flowers that I had kind of dried up. They're coming back now. I'm starting to see some fruit setting. But these tomatoes, let's see them in here. There we go. These ones have been growing since like end of June, early July. I have one that's finally ripening. Very excited. These are black crims, which I love. Really super tasty, not overly juicy, but very good. So I was really hoping to have a bumper crop this year. I guess I'll wait and see what happens. And then over here we have this purple Cherokee. Again, I only have 3 tomatoes on this currently. It was just loaded with blossoms, and then we got the heat wave, and they all dried up and fell off. I'm reassured by other gardeners that I will get some more. Just be patient. Oh, one other thing I tried this year that I have found good, really good, is trimming the bottom branches off the tomato as they get older. So you see this one here is it's starting to get old and ratty. So instead of having the plant exhaust itself by trying to put nutrients out into those tired branches, just lop them off, and it will instead start putting more nutrients and growth activity into the upper half of the plant and forming new leaves that will work more efficiently and actually provide better nutrients to the plant. So I've been doing that. The other benefit too is that you get better air circulation within the tomato plant, so you're less likely to develop any blight. And you also get more sun on the tomatoes, so it helps their ripening process. So, even though I've been gardening since I was a teenager, learning new things. I guess I just kind of always just did it and didn't really pay attention to the why and wherefore. This massive plant, I have made a note next year to maybe invest in a taller support. This is an ancho chili pepper. We've got lots of little peppers happening here. One here, another one here. There's lots of blossoms, lots of other small peppers on it. So the plans for this one is we're going to try smoking some of the chilies in the smoker. And then we'll probably dry them and put them in airtight containers. Probably will freeze some. I have to figure out what else I can do. I know I can do like some salsa, so that's probably be another plan. But I have a feeling we're going to get close to 2 dozen peppers off this plant. So I'm really happy. I did top this plant in the spring, so that's topping the pepper plant is when you remove once it's developed like 3 sets of true leaves, you remove the next little bit that's coming up so that the plant is forced to do some branching and become a bushier plant. And the theory behind this is that for some pepper varieties, it will actually do it'll set more blossoms. And again, I don't know whether it's just the weather we had this summer or because of the fact that I did that, but we have having a lot of peppers this year. It's just the pepper plants are really, really happy. So I am very happy with this. I just have to figure out what to do with all the chilies. And behind this, I have a yellow cherry tomato. It's just starting to set some fruit. It was a late start. I didn't plant the seeds until like mid-April inside. And it's just because we didn't have any cherry tomatoes started already. So I'm okay if it doesn't do a bumper crop. We have had years where we've had way too many cherry tomatoes and didn't know what to do with them all. I was giving tomatoes left, right, and center to neighbors. Tangle this leaf. There we go. Make her happier. But anyways, it has lots of flowers going. There's lots of little tomatoes setting. Ian eats these like candy, so he'll be happy. Okay, now this planter. This planter has been a learning process. So I had a sunflower at this end of the planter, and I was wondering why I had a whole bunch of peppers in here. I had like 3 other peppers that weren't performing well. This is the only one I've left in here to kind of show the difference. So this plant, and this plant here were all planted at the exact same time. I started seeds indoors. They went into the planter at the exact same time. The difference was their proximity to the sunflower plant. So evidently sunflowers, even though all of my companion planting said it was fine to plant peppers near sunflowers, sunflowers emit a toxin that suppresses other plants within their vicinity. And I didn't know that. So yeah, these peppers suffered mightily from that. So I have taken out the sunflower. I'm hoping the shishito might recover. I'm told not to expect miracles. I also had habanero, which I've moved down to its own pot. It might. It's been out of the planter for like 3 days and has some greener leaves appearing, so it might be okay. It was the furthest away from the sunflower, so it might be okay. And then I took the other 2 shishitos and I kind of tucked them in here amongst my beets. So we have one here and one over here. These beets are going to come out. These are golden beets that I've been adding to my salad on and off, so they're going to be coming out soon. So then those shishitos will have that space to themselves. Meanwhile, hopefully they'll recover there. I'm happy otherwise with how these planters have developed this year. This is a bird's eye chili. I've made a note that maybe next year it's better off in its own pot. It's so big, though it's pretty sturdy. Like, it's not flopping over, so it might be okay here. Same with the shishitos. They're kind of like on the maximum height I would want in a planter without support. And I'll have to see how once it starts developing a lot of peppers, the weight of the peppers might actually pull it out, and I might have to jury rig some sort of chicken wire around the edges to keep it upright. This planter here has been amazing. So I have Bikino peppers along this side. They are just starting to set flowers, which is very exciting. I've enjoyed these pickled in salads, and they're delicious. So I was really excited to find the seeds at Richter's this year. Urban Harvest also carries them, and I am going to try pickling them, provided we get peppers. We've got lots of blooms on each of the plants, so we should get peppers. And then these, we've started to pull a couple of these. These are Parisian market carrots. They produce carrots that are like little balls. They're really small. They're like the size of a large marble. I think in a garden center setting they would get to be maybe ping pong size, but they are delicious, really tasty. I mean, I've just been pulling them more to thin them because I got them, as usual, too closely planted together. And then this chard has proven to be the perfect amount of chard that we need. There's maybe 6 plants in there, and I just harvest it every 2-3 days, and we have like steamed chard, or I throw it into scrambled eggs or whatever, because only Ross and I like chard, and I really love chard, so I'm quite happy to eat it all myself. And then we have a habanero. So this is the companion habanero to the one that's in the pot, that one that got poisoned by the sunflower, and you can see that this one is much bigger, greener, luxurious. It's got It's already got flowers on it. No peppers yet, but it's got some flowers down here. So very happy with this one. This is another one that I think it's going to need some sort of support. It might actually enjoy more being in its own pot, so I feel I'm going to have a lot more pots next year. I am going to bring the other planter that's currently out front. I'll back up here so you can kind of see the layout. It's going to come back here, and I'm going to rotate all the planters 90 degrees so I can fit the 3 planters into the backyard then. So we'll have a lot more stuff going on. It's like nothing like having like, let's see if I can get it up. Maybe that gives a good overview of what the garden looks like back here, but it is quite the garden. I don't think I can stuff much more back here. As to whether I'm going to grow the cucumbers again back here, I don't know. The kids next year have declared they want to try watermelon again. And we all enjoy cucumbers. We all love cucumbers, but they take up so much room. I'm quite sure the watermelons will take up just as much room. So I don't know. We'll see how the cantaloupes turn out. I might do cantaloupes and watermelons and leave the cucumbers for the community plot, providing I still have a community plot next year. The other option is we buy street side parking for the summer, and I get a whole bunch of garden stuff and put it out in the driveway and use the driveway to its maximum potential. So far that one seems like a really expensive alternative to having a bigger garden. But anyways, there's the garden update for end of July. Next one will be in a couple weeks.